Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the logo design using Photoshop and Illustrator tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 3, where I'll be showing you guys about simple logo design using shapes and text. Okay, so with the simplest text design, how you will be able to create some stunning logo and also some basic shapes like triangle, the custom shape, and also using rectangle, how you will create a good logo. We'll be learning about that over here into this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the Photoshop. So from here, basically, if I do want to upload a new or if I want to work on with a new file, let's click on new file over here and let's name this one as simple text and shape logo. Okay, so I'll be just showing you guys how you will be able to create up one nice logo using few of the most used and the few of the easiest shapes over here. Okay, so let's come here, let's click on to create, which will create me this particular uh artboard in which I am going to work on. Okay, so let's come here, let's open up my layers panel over here that I can view it properly. And now the first thing what you're gonna do is first you need to come over here, and over here you need to basically draw up a rectangle. Okay, so over here basically I do want to draw up a rectangle over here, let's say. Otherwise, what you can do now is you can first take up a text. Okay, so first you need to think that what you are actually planning to name. Okay, so let's just click right over here and let's write the, let's use all caps, the United Ltd. Okay, so I will just type the United Ltd over here. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my selection tool, and after that let's click on Control T. And now I am going to try to put this one over here in the center of my artboard. Okay, so now I do have put this one over here in the center of my artboard, and over here now I need to make sure that I do create up a rectangle on top of this one. Okay, so now let's come right over here. Let's take this particular rectangle tool, and from the rectangle tool, what I'm gonna do is I am going to create up a rectangle box. Okay, so let me just create up a rectangle box right over here. And after that, if you do want me to give this one up a different color, let's go to my properties panel. And over here for stroke, I will just keep the stroke as 0. And over here now, let me just give this one up a white color. Okay, so if you do want to give the fill a white color, let's come here and let's give this fill up a white color. Now let's come here, let's select this rectangle and let's click on Control T. And what you're gonna do is you are going to put this one behind the text. Okay, so now I do have this rectangle just behind this particular text box, so I'm going to make it quite simple over here. Okay, so now let's come here, let's take this rectangle box, and under fill what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give this one up a black color and Control T, that I can just move this thing up over here as well. Okay, so here you guys can see I can just move this thing up over here. And also, like, if you just want to duplicate it, you guys can actually duplicate this one over here back again. Okay, So now let's come here, and if you do want to decrease the size, okay, so if I just click on to shift, here you guys can see I can just create up a share quite like this. Okay, so if you do want me to do that, I will be able to do that right over here. Again, let's come to my text, and over here I will just change the text color to white. Okay, so I'll just change up the text color to white right over here. And now I am going to individually change the text font. Okay, let's come here, and let's take this first three word, and for the font let me just choose some type of font. Let's try to view that one. And now here you guys can see that I do have a lot of fonts over here. Okay, so let me just come down, let me just come here, let me just go down over here again, and let me just take this one. Okay, and over here what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this one, and the same way what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here, and I am going to take out a different font. Okay, so let's come here, let's go with this agency FB, or if you do want to change it, you guys can come here and you guys can change it as well. So if I go with Candora, but over here I do want to change out the color as well. Okay, so for the color, let's go with something like this, and let's click on OK right over here, and this is being applied. And now the next thing is, let's come to this rectangle option, and from here now let's click on Control T, and you guys can just increase the size of this rectangle the way you want. Okay, so over here this is how it actually works. If you do want to come here, let's say if I do want to get out some spaces, okay, here you guys can see. And also let's come here, and the distance from the center is quite the same. Okay, so over here this also looks the same. And now let's click on enter. Okay, so here you guys can see this particular part of my logo is actually done. Okay, so the next thing is, if I do want to create anything over here on top. Okay, so over here you guys can actually do that. And for that, what you are going to do is you're going to come here onto the shape tool, and from here you guys can see that you do have the custom shape type. Okay, and if you just right over here, here you guys can click that what kind of custom shape are you going to create. Okay, so if you just come right over here, if you do want to create any wild animals, or if you do want to create some lips and all, you guys can come here and you guys can choose right from here. Otherwise, if you do want to create some boat like structure, here you guys can see you do have these recommendations all over here. So under flower also you guys can see that you do have some different flowers. So what I can do is, if I do want to create these flowers, so I will just click on shift, and over here I can just add out this flower. Okay, and over here if you do want to give this one some shape, let's come here and let me just put out the shape right over here. Okay, otherwise Control Z. And now in this particular rectangle I am going to come here, let me just take out this one, so I do have a new shape. Now let's take my selection tool, and I can basically move this thing up around. And for the stroke, I don't want any stroke over here, and over here I want it in black color. Okay, otherwise if you just want to go Control T to move this thing around, and if you do want to put this one over here in one side, let's say I do want to keep this one over here, let me just put out the fill color as white. Okay, so this one looks good over here as well. Okay, so now once you're done, again, let's come here, and from here let's try to get out some of this triangle. Okay, so if you do want to create any kind of triangles fit over here, you guys can see that you guys do have the option of creating some nice triangles over here itself. Okay, so now let's try to create some. So once you're done over here, let me just get no fill on over here. I won't take any fill, and the same way, now let's give this one up a black color. Okay, so black color, and I do have my triangle right over here back again, and let's take this one. Let's click on to my selection tool, and now I will just click on Alt, and I want to duplicate this one, which is right over here. So I will just duplicate it, and I'll just keep this one over here on top, and the same way Control T. And now if you do want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can see that you guys can just give this one up a 180-degree rotation. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can actually do that. Otherwise, directly right from here, you guys can just give this thing up slip. Okay, so just come right over here. Once you're done, you guys can just transform this one, and here you guys can see that how this particular logo looks like. Okay, so here you guys can see once this part is done, and for the next part over here, you guys can just add some other items. Okay, so let's say I will come here, and from here let's go to my line tool, and if you do want to create some straight lines over here, you guys can just do that using by just clicking shift. Okay, so make sure to create up a line, otherwise just go back over here, make sure you're not selecting any layer, and now let's click on shift, and at this particular point let's come here, let's create up this line, and now again let's go for stroke, and let's increase the stroke right over here. Okay, let me just go with let's go with 12. So if I just click on enter, here you guys can see that I do have it in 12. Now let's come here, let's just select it, and again over here let's click on Alt, and let's duplicate it, and let's keep this one in the same place. Okay, so over here you guys can also do that. Otherwise, let's come here, and from here if you do wanna just put out a little gap in between, you guys can also do that. Let's take this line layer, and let's click on Control T. Okay, and over here you guys can just decrease the size from top, and also if you do want to decrease the size from here, you guys can also do that. Okay, so let's click on enter to transform. This one looks good, and the same way Control T, and now very carefully I need to make sure that I do have the line accordingly. Okay, so let's keep up the line right over here, and the same way let's try to keep out that line over here as well. So once I just click on enter, let's click outside, and this is how it actually looks. Okay, so if you do want to just group all of this or all the items which you have here, you guys can just group all these items right over here itself. And now let's try to put out some text over here. Okay, let's just click out. Let's take my text, and from here now let's type ESTD, which is establishment date, and just click on top over here. And what you're gonna do is you are going to select this one, Control T, And now let's choose, or let's just select the font first. Okay. Otherwise, let's come here. Let's decrease the size using shift. And once you're done, let's come here. Let's just place this one, or let's just decrease the size to a certain extent. Okay. So I'll just come over here. Let's uh, double click, and after that let's choose the color as white. Okay, so I'll just choose the color as white, and I will just click on OK over here. And once you're done, let's click OK over here as well. So let's click this and let's click on Alt, and I will just duplicate this right underneath. And after that, let's double click and let's put up the year it was established. Let's go with 2010 over here and click onto this icon, and here you guys can see how your logo basically looks like. Okay, so now this one is exactly over here in the middle. You guys can see how it actually works over here, and this all looks quite amazing. And if you do want to create up a group, you guys can select all of this, and let's click on shift and select all. And to group all of this thing up, let's click on Control G. Okay, over here, you guys can just unlock this layer first. Okay, so once you have unlocked this one, let's select the first layer and let's go with the last layer with Shift. Okay, and now I will just click on Control G to create this particular logo. So I will just name this one as Simple Logo. And here, now if I do want to make any changes later, I will be able to come over here and I will be able to make changes around. Okay, so just come right over here, and the same way, let's just delete this one. And what I'm gonna do is let's go back, let's take this one, let's click on Alt, and let's place this thing right over here. Okay, so let's place this thing right over here, and this one looks a lot better. Okay, a lot more organized. So now let's just come down. All this comes under the logo. If I just close this thing down, and if I do want to select all this thing all together, here you guys will be able to see that I will be able to select all of these things all together. Okay, so let's come over here, Alt, to put this one back up again. Let's come on top a little bit. Let's come to this place, and yeah, this looks good. Okay, and lastly, let's select this text. Okay, so I will just select the text and I will just give this text up a different color. So let's come here, and from here, let me just give this one up a different color, and let's click on OK right over here. And once this is applied, click on OK, and here, now this looks a lot better. So to save this particular logo up, what you need to do is you need to come here on top to the file option, and from file, make sure to export. And after that, you guys can click export as option. Okay, and once you have this one here, you guys can basically choose in what format are you looking to take this particular logo. Okay, so here you guys can see now already the size is being mentioned, which is 800 into 800, and I want to take it in a PNG format with a transparent background. And all you need to do now is you need to click on export. Okay, so just click on export, and here it will tell you where do you want to save up this file. So let me just save it up here in my resource file, and let's click on save. And this particular file has been already saved right over here. Now let's go to file, and from here let's save this PSD file. Let's click on save as. Let's go to my desktop, let's go to my resource file, and let's save out the PSD file using which I will be able to change things later. So click on OK, and this is basically being applied. So yeah, I hope this class was clear on how to create a simple logo using just text and some shapes. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.